Welcome to this quick demo on how to use the Notion template that comes as standard with Pop Invoice. This template is designed to help you manage invoices within Notion and integrates with Pop Invoice so you can create PDF invoices, email clients, and automate reminders. Let's start by exploring the homepage of the template. I'll then demo how to quickly create a new invoice. On the homepage here, we have the invoice database. This is where you'll find all the information you need to record and track your invoices. The main view displays all invoices ordered by their sent date. Each entry includes essential details like the client, tax, total, and the status of the invoice. You'll also see the invoice date, due date, the date it was paid, plus there's a property to track the last time a reminder email was sent. Additionally, there are several useful views. The due date calendar view shows invoices based on their due dates, helping you easily track upcoming payments. The unsent invoices view shows invoices that haven't been created yet, and the overdue invoices view highlights unpaid invoices and shows you how overdue they are, so you can prioritise which ones to follow up. Next, we have the client overview section. This shows a list of your clients along with key financial information. You'll see the total amount invoiced, the total amount overdue, and how much has been paid. You can switch to the current clients view to filter the list to show clients you've invoiced within the past year. At the top of the page, we have a button that shows the status of your invoices using charts. Please note this feature will only work for paid Notion users. The first chart breaks down the total overdue amount, categorising invoices by how overdue they are. You can also view the detailed breakdown of individual overdue invoices using the details view. The second chart shows invoices due this week, which is great for managing your cash flow. At the bottom, there are 3 additional charts. The first shows the total invoiced per client. The second shows the overdue amount by client. And the third visualises your invoicing trends over time, broken down by month. Back on the home page, you'll find a button with detailed instructions on how to use this template. This includes video tutorials and guidance on personalising the properties to suit your needs. It also contains contact information where you can get in touch with me if you need extra help. Finally, this button takes you directly to Pop Invoice. Now let's make a new invoice. Simply click the New Invoice button and a record will be added to the invoice database. First, select the client that this invoice is for. For this example, I'll choose Paint & Co. If the client isn't listed, you can easily add a new client here too. Next, if applicable, you can add the tax percentage. For this example, I'll add in 20%. I've added a button to set the reference for this record to the client name and today's date. You can customize this to suit your needs. Just check out the instructions section where I detail how to do this. Next, scroll down to the Invoice Items section. This is where you list what you're invoicing for. Simply add the item, price, and quantity. For this example, I'll add a training course for 1,000 and I'll put 2 in the quantity, and then add another item called training prep for the price 500 and a quantity 1. Once you've added your items, you can scroll up and see the tax is automatically calculated and added to the invoice total. Once you've filled in all the invoice details, you set the invoice's status to ready. Now that your invoice is ready, let's generate the PDF. Switch over to Pop Invoice and click on the New Invoice button. This will automatically pull in all invoices from your Notion database that have a ready status. From the drop-down list, select the invoice you need, and here it is, the invoice we just created. Take a moment to review the details. If everything looks correct, scroll to the bottom of the page where you have 3 options. First, you can email the invoice directly from Pop Invoice to your client. Second, you can download the PDF so you can send it manually. And finally, you can create and save the PDF, which stores the invoice so you can download it later. For this example, I'll click on Email. As you can see, the client's information is automatically filled in. Pop Invoice pulls these details from the client's database. There's also a standard email message here which you can edit if needed. But for now, I'll just click Send. The invoice is immediately sent to the client and a record of it is saved. You can always return to this page to download the PDF invoice at any time. If you now switch over to your Notion template, you'll see that Pop Invoice has automatically updated the status of the invoice to sent. It has also set key details, including the invoice date, due date, emailed on date, and the invoice number. This ensures your records stay up to date without any manual input. And that's the basics of using the Notion template and generating a PDF invoice with Pop Invoice. Before sending your first invoice, you might want to make a few adjustments to personalise the process. These include customizing the PDF template with your business details, setting the invoice number sequence for each client, and setting the default due date. I'll walk you through how to do this now. First, let's customize your invoice template with your business details. In Pop Invoice, go to the Templates page and edit the standard invoice template. Here, you can upload your company logo, enter your business name, and update your business address. You can also customize the invoice layout by choosing which columns from your invoice items database to include. For example, I'll expand the description column for better readability, switch around the price and quantity columns, and you can add extra columns if needed. You can also personalize the footer section. Here, I'll change the label to payment details and update this one to company information. You can enter any details here or leave them blank. At the bottom, you have the option to add a payment link. This will place a button on the invoice so customers can go straight to your payment page. You can also choose between portrait or landscape format for your invoices. Once you're happy with the customizations, preview the invoice, then save your changes. If you're a pro user, you can create multiple templates. Perfect if you send invoices from different businesses or need variations for different customers. If you need unique invoice numbers for specific clients, you can set this up in your client's database inside the Notion template. Let's switch over to Notion and click on the client's database link here. In this database, you'll see 2 important properties. The next invoice number property that tells Pop Invoice what number to use for the client's next invoice, and the invoice number prefix property, where you can add a custom prefix that will appear before the invoice number. This is useful if you're already working with a client and have sent invoices manually before using Pop Invoice. Just enter the next invoice number here and Pop Invoice will continue from there. It'll automatically update the value as invoices are created, so you only need to do this once. For example, I'll add an invoice number for this new customer. I'll add one in the next invoice number property and set the invoice number prefix to ST-. Now, when I create an invoice for this client and generate the PDF in Pop Invoice, it will automatically be signed the invoice number ST-001, and the next invoice number in the client database will be updated to 2. If you're a pro user, instead of using an automatically generated invoice number, you can manually enter your own invoice number for each invoice, and Pop Invoice will use that instead. Finally, let's set the invoice due date. This is controlled in the Invoice Template, so in Pop Invoice, go to the Template section and edit the standard template. Scroll down to the Invoice Information section. Here, you can set the due date by choosing how many days after the invoice date payment is due. By default, this is set to 30 days, but I'll change it to 7 days for this example. Once you've made your changes, save the template. Now every invoice using this template will automatically apply the new due date. If you're a pro user, you have even more flexibility, as you can set the due date directly in your Notion database, and Pop Invoice will automatically use it. Or you can create multiple invoice templates with different due date periods, allowing you to apply different payment terms for different clients. And that's it, a complete overview of how to use the Notion template that comes with Pop Invoice, along with a few tips on how to customize your setup to suit your needs. But remember, Pop Invoice isn't limited just to this template. You can use it with other Notion templates or even your own custom setup. If you'd like to learn how to connect Pop Invoice to your own Notion workspace, check out the video linked in the description. For more tutorials and tips on getting the most out of Pop Invoice, be sure to check out the other videos on this channel.